Good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing today? We're gonna give it a
Good.
sorry. We're gonna give it a little bit more time so that people could join, okay? Hello, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, Jenny.
Good morning. All right. Okay, let me know if you guys can see my screen really quick. If my internet starts to get slow or something, just let me know. Um, I'm in my little RV trailer, so I'm like outside of the house, so I don't know if it's gonna reach, but if it does get wobbly, let me know so I could get on my hotspot. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys how to actually get to Skyslope. You guys probably already know how to do this, but I'm just gonna show you guys because I know once we all get into contract, hold on, I'm admitting more people. And I'm already recording. Look at me on top of it this time. So I know that, when our TCs start doing our transactions for us, we don't see any of the back end stuff. So I just want to show you guys how to get there, and then we're gonna go over the disclosures, because everything is listed in Skyslope for us. So once you're on one zone, you are going to click Skyslope right here on the left-hand side. And Erica and Amanda, I know you guys are in here, so if I miss anything or if you guys want to add on to anything I have to say, please do. Please, please do. All right, so here, this is what it will look like. I have the one closed here. So I will go ahead and click on this transaction. Usually it'll say right here, let me see if I can move this. Create transaction, all that stuff, but they will do all this for you. And then you'll have all the information here, okay? So I go to checklist, and right here in checklist, hold on this again. How do I? Okay, here we go. They will have there is literally a checklist for you. Um, and it'll give you a status if it's in review, if you even need it or not. Sometimes you might not even need it. And we'll go over all of this too, because there are some stuff here that I didn't need. For example, a seller in possession, and a trust advisory, things like that. So we will go over that. Let me just go ahead and log into my car forms already. Ah, and if you are a newer agent and you will need some documents that are worried that you won't know you'll need, you'll have a coach, you'll have your TCs to help you guide through everything, okay? So don't worry about that. All right. So, first and foremost, the number one contract that you guys even start to do is the buyer representation agreement, okay? Now let's look for it here. Let's see. Should be good. Where is it at? Hmm. Okay, it should be here, but that's okay. It's in my car forms. So we'll go to car forms and I have it here. Go to documents. Where's it at? All right. So this is what the buyer broker agreement looks like. I do have a highlighted contract. So If any of you ever want to request the highlighted contract, I do have one and I will send it to you, okay? So obviously there is a lot of verbiage to go over with your buyers. So usually what I do is I do outline the most important stuff about the contract, and then I let them know, hey, if I were to go over this with you word by word, we would be here for hours. So I'm just gonna go over, the important stuff, stuff that you need to know. And then if you can please read it on your own time, read it carefully, and then get back to me if you have any questions or if you need clarification on anything. And then usually they don't because I kind of do go over it with them, but sometimes they might. So this is the actual buyer representation agreement. As you see, I have the most important stuff highlighted. So I will put their name. I do put the broker, representation period. So for a BRBC, you cannot go more than 3 months representing them. Okay. So it even says right here, buyer and broker agree that if buyer is not a corporation, LLC, or partnership, the representation period shall end on either the ending date specified above or 90 days from the beginning date, whichever is sooner. So you don't have to read that verbiage for verbiage, but just let them know, I can't represent you more than the 90 days. And if possible, you guys can do either an addendum or you guys can do another buyer representation agreement. Um, right here, type of representation is exclusive. So I tell them this. Exclusive means I am the only one that can represent you. So if you go to an open house and somebody asks, and I'm not there, somebody asks, "Oh, do you have an agent?" Please say yes. You do have an agent. I am representing you and we are exclusive. Okay? Um, some buyers do ask to be non-exclusive. Um, I've never worked with a buyer that asked me that, but I know that there have been situations in that case. Um, and I just reassure them like, hey, this right here protects me just as much as it protects you. And this shows that I'm just as dedicated to you as you are to me. I'm gonna work for you. I'm gonna negotiate for you. I'm gonna do what it takes to get you what you want. And that's how I kind of explain things to them. Uh, Now property type, a lot of people see single family residence right here and they just check the box, okay? But you got to read it. So it says property type is already a single family residence, okay? So if you check this box, this means that it excludes from the agreement. Okay, now so I do notice a lot of people check this box because they just see it, SFR, they're like, oh yeah, I'm representing them for that, and they check it. But you guys got to read, and that's why it's important too for you guys to read through all of this as well. And it's good to come to all the classes because, I do touch up on all of this stuff, right? So, so then right here, right below, and this, it kind of does get a little confusing. So it says single family residential, or if checked, single family residential is excluded, and that's in parentheses. But then if you go down, it says including condominiums and manufactured homes, single family residence. So if they're looking to buy a multifamily residence, you would check this. If they're looking to buy a vacant land, you would check this, or commercial property, or if there's any kind of specific property, you would check this and fill it out. So a lot of these contracts do have words that will trick you, but that's why you have me. If you guys have any questions about anything in the future, you guys can always reach out to me or Amanda or Erica. Okay, so
Hey,
location. Go ahead.
sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Uh, the page I'm looking at right now is actually the checklist page. I'm not seeing the BRBC.
The checklist. Oh my God.
Sorry.
You guys, I've been going over this whole contract this whole time. You guys haven't told me. Okay, hold on. All right. Can you guys see it now? Okay.
Sorry about that.
If you guys hear me talking about a contract, please let me know because I'm literally talking about the contract. So I just talked about the whole contract and you guys are barely seeing it now. So, um, yeah. Okay. Well, here it is again. The representation period time. This is where it's only 3 months. This is where you would click exclusive. This is the single family residential, and this is the box I'm telling you guys not to check because it does say single family residential, but it's excluded. So click that box, or don't click that box. Sorry. All right. Location, counties. Um, right here, I usually do counties. I don't do cities only because a lot of people will look at certain cities, like they'll want to say, like, I don't know, just Manteca or something. And then if they put Manteca only and then they find a house in Stockton, they can use a different agent. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So I usually just go by counties. And if they even mention, because I actually got screwed on this, and I'll tell you this. If they even mention a different county somewhere else, put it in. Put it in. Like follow your gut and put it in. So I was representing a seller and they were going to buy with me as well. So I listed their house for 2% because they were also going to buy it with me. So after I listed it and we sold it, um, they were already in escrow to purchase a home in Sonora. And they were refusing to tell me where they were buying it because they didn't want me to contact the other agent. And I told them specifically, like, hey, I told you I would list it for you, um, because you're going to buy with me. So I told you I would list it for 2% because you were going to buy with me. And they're like, yeah, well, we just didn't plan it. And I was like, okay, well, we do have a buyer representation agreement, but I did not put Sonora in there. So I screwed myself over and I called the listing agent and let them know, hey, like I've been working with these people. I've been showing them houses. I've been doing everything. And, we do have a buyer rep agreement. And the agent basically said, oh, well, that's not my problem. You don't have a buyer representation agreement signed with me, which she's not wrong. I don't. So she's like, you have to take it up with the buyers, but I really couldn't because I did not put Sonora on there, but nor did they tell me that they were looking at Sonora either. So, yeah. Okay. So, amount compensation. So, this is what I always put. I always put 3% commission because you cannot negotiate your commission up, but you can no negotiate your commission down. Okay. So I always start at 3% and then negotiate down from there. And whenever you write a contract or you're writing a purchase agreement, your commission has to match this amount right here. It has to match. Now, if you negotiate it down, then you would do an addendum. Or I think there's a modification. I'm sorry, it would be a modification. Any questions so far?
So if you were to put like an additional descriptions like all other counties upon request or anything like that, that's not really going to work as far as
No,
what the
no.
description you described. No.
No, no, because it's not, it can vary. It can be, that's a gray area if you were to do that. You would
Yeah,
have to literally label all the counties.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Okay, let me see. Um, this would be, if you click this, this would mean you're giving a referral out. Let's see. Okay. All right, right here is very important too. So this right here, this really does put the buyers at ease, okay? So I always check this box and I always say buyer does not have sufficient funds to pay the broker. And it clearly states right here, buyers, brokers, obligation to represent buyer in a transaction is contingent upon a seller's agreement to pay the amount of compensation. So I tell them right then and there, hey, uh, this clearly states that that we are going to get the seller to pay for our commission, and it is very common that the seller does pay for commission. I know that there was a point, and they'll probably ask, "Well, what about that new stuff that's going on?" And they'll probably ask about it. And I usually just say, it actually hurts sellers for them to not pay buyers agents because buyers are already coming up with the money to purchase the home. They're coming up with the down payment. They're coming up with a lot of money that so having to pay an extra additional commission is out of buyers' price ranges. So I do let them know that the sellers usually do pay for the commission still. Um, it's very uncommon that they don't, but that's my job to negotiate my commission. Now, other terms, right here, you would put if you're related to the family member or if you're related to the buyer or something like that. Like buyer is realtors or buyer's agent's nephew or daughter or whatever. All right. Let's see. This goes over the compensation to the broker, the non-exclusive, the exclusive representation, um, the broker involvement. Let's see. Timing of compensation. I would just tell them, this remaining stuff, oh, cancellation of buyer representation agreement. This is a good one. So I everybody does business differently, okay? Me personally, I will tell the buyer, listen, if you don't want to work with me, I do not mind letting you out of this agreement. I'm not going to force you to work with me, and I don't want to make your time a bad time, and I don't want to make my time a bad time. So if you feel at any point that we are just not a match, I am totally okay with letting you out of the buyer representation agreement. I don't want to force somebody to work with me if they don't want to work with me. So I do let them know that, and even though it is, the 3 month period, that's fine. Um, but I do let them know, I do point this out, and I do let them know that, if they do want to, get out, I don't mind letting them. Uh, okay, so right here for financial and personal information, this is if the box is checked, but sometimes people do bring this up because they are worried about their financial situation getting out or personal information. But I just let them kind of know, like, hey, wait, what is this? Yeah. So I let them know that, we do have to show proof of funds when we do turn in an offer. So we don't have to, show them before we show a house. Sometimes we do. And I do let them know this too. Usually for houses over $1 million, um, sometimes they do request a proof of funds or they do request the letter of approval. So I do go over that with them. It's uncommon sometimes, but sometimes it's common. I had to do it for my ranch. My grandpa didn't want anybody in the house unless they were pre-qualified. So, sometimes your clients do ask for that, which is fine. Let me see. Inclusive representation. Yeah. This is all just stuff I would have them read. Um, let's see, then you'd have their signature there, all your broker's information. Broker compensation advisory. And this will go over them with them too, how the compensation works. Um, like even if they're unrepresented, if it's non-exclusive, stuff like that. Compensation. Right here is where I would point out. I'd probably highlight this area for them. The seller, how the seller pays the compensation. Um, and you'd kind of probably just backtrack a little bit because you do want to again point this out because this is probably one of their biggest questions or the main questions I get. So I would highlight this for them, this area for them to read. But yeah, it basically says the buyer negotiates for seller to compensate the my pay. So this is for the investigation advisory. This is something that I do bring up because recently I have had a buyer purchase a home and they didn't have any contingencies. So they removed all their contingencies, which is fine, but they still wanted to do their inspections. So what that means is even though you remove your contingency, you can still do inspections for your own knowledge, okay? I do tell them this, like if they choose to not do any inspections, they still have the right to do inspections for their own knowledge, okay? Now, when my buyers did this and I asked the listing agent, I said, "Hey, is it okay if we go in on Thursday to do inspections?" And the listing agent said, "No, no, absolutely not. You're not allowed to do inspections." And I said, "Yes, we are." She goes, "No, you removed all the contingencies." And I said, "Did you read the contract?" And she said, "Yeah, you can't do it." And it clearly states in the contract as well, the residential purchase agreement, that you can do it for your own knowledge. And so I highlighted it and I sent it to her and she goes, "No, this isn't correct." And I was like, "Okay, can you please talk to your broker?" So she did, and then she goes, "Oh, they must have changed the contract." And I'm like, "Girl, you've been in business for 20 years. Like, come on." Uh, but so just keep that in mind that they are still able to do all the inspections they want, even though they do take um, they remove all contingencies. All right. And this is just stuff I would have them read on their own. So that's that for the buyer broker representation agreement. And if you guys want this, I can send it out today. Just let me know. My son is knocking at the door, sorry. So this is that. Hold on, give me 1 second. Where is this? All right. Okay. So let's look at some very important. Okay, wire fraud. Let's look at this one. This is very important. Okay, you guys. So wire fraud and electronic funds transfer advisory. You guys, this is probably one of the most things that I am so nervous for. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so I don't know if some of you guys see my emails, but at the very bottom, I do put a wire fraud advisory on the bottom. Um, I always go over this with my clients. This is the number one thing I tell them. If they get emails saying that the escrow number has changed, it's fake. If they get any emails that even the slightest, because they will the slightest change in the name has changed or anything, to just be advised, like to only wire funds when or right before you call the title company and me.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Sorry, your screen is weird. I don't know if it's just my screen
Okay.
or if everyone can see it.
I don't know why it does that. Whenever I change screens,
Yeah,
it
I can see
doesn't
it too.
change for me. Okay. Can you guys see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is just what it looks like. But I tell them, do not wire anything unless you call escrow first. And you're at the bank. You call escrow first. Um, Escrow instructions usually don't change, and when the wire fraud, scammers try to get you, they'll send it to you, like an email to you or call you or something near the close of escrow. So I do tell them that, okay? This happened recently to my best friend. Her client was paying cash and somebody messaged them from a different email and they just went and wired the funds. And then afterwards they called my best friend and said, "Hey, we wired it already." And she's like, "Wired what?" Like, "No, you're not supposed to wire yet." And they lost out on, I think it was $250,000. I'm pretty sure they did end up getting it back later, but yeah, it's possible. So I do go over this with them. This is one of the most important things, okay? And then I do ask them to read it as well. Okay, so wire fraud is very important to go over. Yeah. Fair housing. Yeah, this is pretty important. All right, fair housing and discrimination advisory. I do have them, they should be reading over all this, but sometimes I do go over this with them if they ask. But basically, I just let them know that with fair housing, they can't discriminate or they can't basically not sell to you because of, age or citizenship or medical condition or anything like that, that they are protected. They are protected through this act. So I do have them oh, can you see the screen or no? Let's see. Can you see it
I
now?
can see it.
Okay, this is it. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's see what else. Let's see. Hold on, I'm going through the list. What else can I do? Okay, we're gonna go over the seller disclosures, okay? So let me share the screen again. Okay. All right, can you guys see it? It says real estate transfer disclosure statement.
Yes, we
Okay,
see it.
perfect. Okay, so this is what the seller has to sign. Okay, the seller has to fill this out. You cannot fill this out. Okay, this is if you're representing a seller. If there are no additional inspections, they would mark this. You can guide them through this while you're with them. So if they don't have any inspections, you can have them check this. If they have inspections, you can have them check this, and then you would name everything that they have. Right down here, it'll ask, a lot of people miss this. Seller is or is not occupying the property. So in this case, the seller was not occupying the property.
Jenny, we're losing you.
Can you hear me?
And now.
Okay. Let me try to switch to my hotspot. Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so right here, seller is or is not occupying the property. So sometimes this disclosure actually does not have to be filled out. And I think it doesn't have to be filled out if it's being sold through a trust, and then that will what is the word? Exclude them from that. Um so here they would say the subject property has the items checked below. The seller would have to check everything that they have in the property. What's the water heater, if it's gas, water supply, which is a well, gas supply, utility. And then, they would give the roof time, approximate age, are there, to the best of your seller's knowledge, any of the above that are not in operating condition? No. So I would go over this with them, but just make sure that they fill it out. Now, here's the thing too. If they do all of this and they mark yes on anything, and you have to tell them this, hey, when you fill this out, if you do happen to mark yes on anything, there is a section at the very bottom where you have to describe what the yes is. Okay, so in this case, there was no. There might be yeses on the other ones, but and then you get your signatures, and that one's that one. Let's do the seller property questionnaire. Now, the seller property questionnaire usually goes hand in hand with the TDS. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this will go hand in hand with the TDS and then the Avid, and we'll get there too. So in this case, this is where we'll ask within the last 3 years, the death of an occupant on the property. No. I mean, you have to mark everything down. So like, I know one time, well, when we bought our house in Modesto, there was a raccoon that died in the attic, and they had to put that. So like any little thing. Because if your seller does not disclose it, that's withholding information of the property. And it could go into legal action. So right here, okay, so they did do yes on something ongoing or reoccurring maintenance on the property. For example, drain or sewer clean out, tree and pest services, yes. They did not put an explanation, but they did let me know that they had to do pest every 3 months and blah, 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 because it was ran as a business. So these are pretty clean. The house is pretty clean, to be honest with you. Let's see, operational sprinklers on the property. Yes. If yes, are they automatic? Title, ownership, liens. No. So this is basically just a seller property questionnaire. Again, if they mark yes on anything, they have to give an explanation. All right, now this is the listing agent's Avid. All right, can you guys see it?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So this is what the listing agent had. This is their Avid. This is their initial walkthrough. So entries, scratches and cracks on doors, scratches on entry floor and walls, some holes on the walls for pictures, etc., etc. Some people, again, this is just depending on your guys' business. Some people don't note anything. They will say nothing to note because maybe later on they might not want to be liable, or I don't know what their reason is. Or just the house might be super clean, extremely clean, and there really is nothing to note. I always put something. Even if the house is in immaculate condition and it is clean, it is pristine, I will literally put that in the notes. Kitchen is extremely clean, looks brand new, smells brand new, nothing to note. Okay? I always put something just because if you were to get sued in the future, you can always come back to this and see what you wrote and say, hey, no, I put right here that the kitchen was pristine. So when we went in there and the kitchen was destroyed, like, no, this is what I put. This is how I saw it. Okay? All right. So this is my Avid, which, wait, why do I have two? Which I honestly didn't write much because I got the shit scared out of me when I was there. Did I tell you guys that story? No, I'm gonna show you guys. Did I tell you guys that story about what happened to me recently?
So,
Okay, so I went to go do my Avid. I was walking through the house. It's an older house, okay? It's an older house. And I walked through the washroom, like the washroom door was already open. I walked through the washroom door, and as I was walking out, I heard a scratch, like a scrape, and the door was closing fast on me. I ran out of there so freaking quick. Like, I thought it was a ghost. I thought it was a demon. I ran out of there. I ran across the street. I was so freaking scared. I've never had any haunted moments in my 10 years of real estate. That was going to be my first. I was horrified. Like, I was crying. I started crying because I had never experienced anything like that before in my life. So I called the listing agent and I was like, is this effing house haunted? I was so scared. And she's like, no, why? And so I told her what happened and she started laughing. And I was like, what? And she was like, there's an automatic door closer on that door. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Are you sure? I was terrified to go back in that house. I did not want to go back in there at all. It was the worst experience of my freaking life. I was mortified. I was so scared. So I wish they would have put that in their disclosures. I would have been prepared. All right. What else can we do? Oh, lead paint, lead-based paint. Okay. This is pretty important. It's just disclosing about, like lead-based paint, if there's any acknowledgement on it or anything like that. It's pre-1978. So if the house was built before 1978, you have to have this disclosure. Okay? Oh, can you guys see it? Darn it. Can you guys see it?
yeah, I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and it even tells you right here, pre-1978. So this is pretty important. And again, it'll tell you guys, here, I'm going to share this screen with you. It'll tell you guys if it's needed or not. This is if applicable, solar advisory if applicable. So if it has solars, yes, you would need this. If it doesn't have solars, you don't need it. Square footage, lot size. Usually we do need this, but every brokerage is different. So in this case, we don't need it. But for this, if you do see it in the future, I will show you guys what it looks like because we do get that pretty often. Let me see. So I can share it with you. Square footage, lot size. Okay. Let me share my screen. Hold on. All right. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So right here, all you would honestly have to do is just go on the tax records and put it right here. Square footage, the lot size, or any additional information. Same with the MLS. If you see it, if it was maybe listed previously or whatever, you would put it right there. And that's honestly it. see what else we got here. I want to go over this market conditions advisory. So, market conditions advisory, this is pretty good to have because as we know, the market changes frequently, right? So, this basically states real estate markets are cyclical. I don't even know what that word means. And can change over time. It is impossible to predict future market conditions with accuracy. In a competitive or hot real estate market, there are generally more buyers than sellers. This will often lead to multiple buyers competing for the same property. Um, so this is when I kind of, let them know like, yeah, usually if there's a lot more buyers and the market's hot, like you're going to have a lot of competition as a buyer. Um, So these are for non-contingent offers too. Most residential purchase agreements contain contingencies, allowing a buyer within a specific period of time to cancel the purchase. Okay. So if you're removing your contingencies, then you cannot obtain a loan, whether through your fault or the fault of the lender. So let's just say, I mean, even if your buyer has a loan, never remove the loan contingency, never. Appraisal contingency and investigation contingency, you can definitely work around because for appraisal, you can obviously, you know, renegotiate the price or your buyers can pay for the gap or whatever. Uh, but if you remove any of these, you cannot use that as a reason to back out. So here is something that I do as a listing agent. I actually have all of these. So I have a listing coming up next Wednesday. I'm going to have my seller sign all of these prior to the listing, okay? And I'm going to put them in the MLS and I'm going to say, if your buyer wants to put an offer in on this, they have to turn the offer in with all of these disclosures signed. So if I do that, that means I had already given them the disclosures prior, they had already signed. So if they write an offer with no contingencies, they cannot back out. Now, if we were to get into escrow and I did not send them all of these disclosures yet, they have, I believe, 5 days. It's 5 or 7 days to back out, even if it's non-contingent. Even if all of their contingencies are removed, they still have those 5 or 7 days to back out because I have to deliver these disclosures to them. So a lot of people think, oh, this is a non-contingent. Like they removed all their contingencies. We're good. We have to sell. This house is going to sell. They're stuck. No, that's not the fact. Does everybody kind of understand that part?
Is that just the market conditions that needs to be signed in advance, or you said
All,
contingencies? Is there
I,
other ones?
no, I do so all the disclosures, all of them, I have them signed prior. The buyers. Like if the buyers put an offer in on it, they have to sign all of the disclosures prior. Obviously, this is a different kind of market right now, so like if they don't, like they don't, but yeah, if it's a hot market, you definitely want the buyers to sign all of the disclosures when they put their offer in.
And that's all the disclosures that are going to be highlighted on this list.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. And
Okay.
your TC will do it for you.
Okay.
They'll send it all to the seller. The seller will sign everything, and then those documents you will put on the MLS as an attachment. And then in the agent remarks, you will put, please have buyers sign all disclosures attached with the offer.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So trust advisory. Okay, let me go to trust advisory because this one's pretty important too. Green. Okay. So trust advisory is for properties being sold by the trustee of a trust. So this is pretty common for, people who have passed away and then the trustee comes in and has to sell the house. This will just say that it'll say who the seller is, and then it should say, wait, where is it at? There usually is a spot here that says who the trustee is. Advisory. Oh, there's a trustee something. Hold on, let me try to find it. Let me try to find it. I thought there it is. Trust. What's it at? Why isn't it working? Okay, maybe not. Amanda and Erica, do you guys know what that form is that states who the trustee is or who the person who was signing is? So it's not popping up. You guys are on.
Is that different than entity sellers, or that would be something same?
It might be that one. Let's see. It might be that one actually, yeah. Oh, why isn't it coming up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
It's the RCSD is the one that tells who the signer is for
Okay,
trust or for
right here. I got it. Okay,
yeah.
I was like wondering what it was because I thought it would come up if I put trust, but it didn't. Thank you. Okay, so this is what you would attach. Um, if it's a trust, you would click this, and then you would put the name of the person of the trust. If it's an entity, as in a corporation or an LLC partnership, you would check whatever box it is. And same for power of attorney. Um, then you would put the buyer would sign. Name of the trustee. Why? Then the seller right here. But you would have to put the name.
Just to interrupt you, I'm sorry, Jenny,
Go
but
ahead.
if the RPA and the RLA are filled out correctly for the entity signers, then this isn't required. So
Oh,
you could
okay.
save yourself some and us some paperwork if it's filled out correctly.
Okay, cool. Got it. How come this says buyer right here though?
There's an RCSD-B for buyers, and then there's an RCSD-S for sellers.
Oh, okay. So I did the wrong one anyways. So then the RCSDS isn't needed if the listing agreement is signed correctly.
Yeah, so on the listing agreement, yeah, there's a spot for the entity signers.
Uh-huh.
And then if that is filled out correctly, then you don't need the RCSDS.
Uh-huh.
And then on the RPA, there's also a spot for the sellers to fill out that they're an entity,
Got it.
so it's not required.
Okay, cool. All right. There you go. Okay. So here we go. Okay. All right. Preliminary reports. We're gonna do this one pretty quickly. Oh, wait. Here. Oh. It doesn't allow me for it to pop up. Okay. All right, so preliminary reports. This is given to you for your buyers or for the sellers. So usually when I list a property, I pre-open escrow and they will have this report ready to give a buyer or for us to even, have for the seller to have. So I would read, it has the APN number, the address. Make sure you do read over this. It will tell you if there are any clouds or any liens or anything on the property. Please read over it. This is it's a pretty long one, but it does give you links that you can click on additionally if need. It goes over the property taxes. So first installment, that's what that is. The lien of supplemental taxes, if any. Looks like it's pretty good. Let's see. Notes. See, nothing. There's nothing here that I could even like really call out. It's pretty clear. Map. This is just what it looks like. Just a bunch of stuff. But once you start reading, you will see if there are any clouds or any liens or anything on the property. I've honestly never came across one that even had a lien or any clouds or anything in my 10 years, but it'll happen, trust me. So that's what the preliminary report looks like. Okay. So this is a buyer investigation election. So my clients did not do any inspections. Um, they because the sellers already had it. So they kind of just went with those ones. So they didn't do any inspections, so they didn't have to check any of these off. Now, if your client did do inspections, then yes, they would need to check this off. So if you are representing the buyer, and you did a general home inspection, you would have to check this. If you did a wood destroying pest inspection, you would have to click that. Asbestos, chimney inspection, electrical, lead paint, heating, an AC, mold. And if you have a, natural hazard, plumbing, pool, spa, any of this, roof, septic system, sewer, you would have to check whatever inspections you guys did, okay? Oh, shoot. Can you guys see it? Dang it.
Yeah, that's on.
Oh, it's on? Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So yeah, so you guys would have to check everything. And then so the buyer investigation waiver, a lot of people get the two confused. Since we decided, so you can see right here, home inspection waiver, broker recommends that buyer obtain a home inspection. So any client that we have to recommend that they do inspections no matter what. We have to recommend that they do it. If they decide not to, that's their decision. So even if the seller or broker has provided buyer with a copy of a home inspection report obtained by the seller or a previous buyer, if you do not do so, you are acting against the advice of the broker. So this basically states that they decided to use the other inspection reports that they didn't get any inspections and that they're going against what we are saying. Same with the pest inspection. And it states again, if you do not do so, you are acting against the advice of the broker. So right here, buyer has decided not to obtain the inspections noted above at this time because they had already provided it. Now, the waivers of additional investigation recommended by other reports. So because the reports were already provided previously, they did have the general home inspection, they did have the wood destroying pest, and they already did have, I think, roof, yeah. So those were already provided to them, and then they initial again. All right. Okay. Now for the good stuff. Oh, let's go over appraisal first. We're gonna go over the appraisal. Okay, so this is what an appraisal looks like. Sometimes the appraiser does, approve it on conditions. So in this case, we were in contract for 490. Okay, it did not appraise at 490. It appraised at 480, which honestly helped us because we did ask the seller to come down in price, and they did, and they still gave us the credit that they wanted. So 14,000 right here, seller paid concessions. So they came down an additional 10,000, and I'll show you where you'll see where it appraised at. So it'll even say how many days it's been on the market, see comments, subject listing history, and it'll even give you what's it called? Comparables, okay? So it has all the information about the house. It's a well, it's a septic tank. Flood zone X. See foundations and crawl. So it has all the information here at the house. All right. Additional features. Okay. Subject condition. Updates. All right. Okay. This is the appraisal report. So these are all of the comparables. So you have these ones right here, these ones right here, this one right here. This is what we're in contract for, 490. And go down a little bit. Which one's this one? This is for 480. Yeah. Just keep reading, see 80. Right here, indicated value of sales comparison approach, 480. Indicated value by sales comparison approach, 480. So she appraised it at 480. Based on a complete visual inspection of the interior and exterior areas of the subject property, defined scope of work, statement of assumptions and limiting conditions, and appraiser certification, our opinion of the market value as defined of the real property that is the subject of this report is 480. Okay. So, a lot of people worry, a lot of agents worry that if the house doesn't appraise, which yes, it's worried. Trust me, worry. But sometimes it really can benefit your buyers. I mean, they bought the house for $10,000 cheaper and they still got their concessions. Okay. There are 3 options if the house does not appraise. If it doesn't appraise, your clients can come up with the gap. You can ask the seller to come down in price, or you can have your buyers back out. Usually the sellers probably will come down in price if it's not a huge gap, because they just want to get rid of it right now. This is that kind of a market. And then the appraiser will put the report in. So this, you would have to read all this. Let me see. There were conditions. Let me show you if I could find them. These are some extra comparables. Okay. No. Comparables. No. Okay, subject to condition. So depending on the type of loan you guys have, the appraiser will ask for some certain things to get done, and that's okay. Usually the seller is open to fixing it. I've had times where both buyer and seller have both come to an agreement where they've split it. But right here it says the roof appears to be in adequate condition, so that's good. The interior has been adequately maintained. Oh, this is the condition of the house, sorry. Subject to listing history. Wait, where's the conditions? Let's see. Oh, that's not it. Okay, right here. Sorry, I was reading the wrong spot. This appraisal is subject to the following repairs and alterations. So this right here, these are the three conditions that the appraiser asked to get done prior to the close of escrow. So the exterior wall being repaired. There was some chips or something, I can't remember, but they just had a repaint over it. The condenser drain line being extended to discharge water away from the dwelling, which they fixed. The damaged exterior siding at the corner of the dwelling being repaired. So that was it. This was for an FHA loan. Okay. So this is what a appraisal looks like. It is a pretty long report. But those are the main things that I wanted to go over, was to show you where the conditions would be and to where it would show you where the amount it appraised for. Okay. Now we could do home inspections. So home inspections, you guys, you have to read the home inspections. I mean, you gotta go through it very thoroughly for your clients, no matter what. Like some agents, and I can't even believe this, but some agents just get these reports and just let their clients read it. And then if they have questions, then they'll go back. Don't be that agent. Read through all of these inspections because you can see the most concerning things and bring it up to your buyer's attention. And then, you could possibly do a request for repairs where you can ask the seller to fix it. Don't forget, you work for your buyers. You work for them. So if you see something concerning, you want to make sure that your buyer gets the best out of this. And you want to make the buyer feel like you have their back, okay? All right, so this is what inspections look like. There will be pictures. There will be pictures of everything pretty much, anything that the inspector calls. Anything in red usually is like major. This is just the driveway, so that's pretty common. Any walkways, um, pictures, porch, everything's pretty serviceable, common cracks. All right, this is the exterior. So wood rot damage noted to various areas of the siding. And then as you can see, there are pictures. Okay. So this is what was fixed from what the appraiser wanted fixed right here. See all that? So all this was fixed and so was the pipe. This as well. So, all right. Wall and door trim is pretty, it was a very old home, so pretty common. Can you guys see the report?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure. All right, roof. So everything looks pretty good. The gutter system is rusted and leaking. Okay. But everything looked good. Structure, foundation type is slab, and then some of it is raised. Foundation, poured concrete. Okay, so everything's in blue and green, looks pretty good, but just make sure you still read it. Floor construction. Okay, ventilation. It's good. Not really any pictures, so. All right, plumbing. Let's see. Notes. Everything looks pretty good. Water heater repairs. The water heater had rust. Okay, so this right here, this was done prior to some of the fixings that they did. So this was the water heater prior. Before we closed escrow, they put a brand new water heater in and brand new pipes, brand new everything. So that was pretty great. Um, so this is what the water heater looked like originally, but when when my clients moved in, they put a brand new one in, which is nice. All right, heating and air conditioning, HVAC system. It's pretty good. Okay, observation of the furnace sort of dirty. Okay. And so here's one thing too is, as if you're representing the seller, a lot of people think that, and buyers, that when you do these inspections and all these reds come up or all this stuff that they're noting has to be fixed. It doesn't have to be fixed. They are just letting you know what their observations are. So later on, if the buyer decides to fix whatever they want to fix later on, they can. So a lot of people, a lot of buyers see these and they get scared and then they want to back out, but because they think that they have to fix all of this, but they really don't. All right, so this is the main panel. Numerous breakers are not labeled. The main service panel is a Federal Pacific. Okay, so this I did bring this to my client's attention about this was a main concern for me because I know how expensive electrical can be. Uh, but he does construction. I mean, he does everything. So he was just like, I don't care. Okay. So in the like if it I would bring this up to my clients. All right. So everything else looks pretty good right here. Okay, now we get to the interior. Oh my God, if they have a picture of that stupid door, I'll show you guys. Scared the crap out of me. Okay. All right, so let's see. Numerous closet doors, guides are missing. Numerous interior doors are damaged. The master bath pocket door is off track. Okay. Uh, walls. They do know any like holes and things like that for patch and paint. They know everything, which is great. Um, so as you can see the pictures, the ceiling repairs moisture stains, gem is noted on various areas of the ceiling. So this I did also bring to my client's attention. So when we asked the listing agent, it was just a previous leak and it was fixed and that was it. So we're a note of various floor ceilings, but okay. All right, so this is just little notes that they put. All right, this is the attic and insulation. So they show you guys everything. All right, this is the laundry room. Let's see. Repairs the exterior dryer vent cover is damaged. Okay. All right, this is the kitchen. They put everything. So sink finish is chipped. They'll put everything from cabinets to discoloration right here. No anti-tip device installed for the stove. Dishwasher was not properly secured. That's the dishwasher. Bathrooms. The toilet was loose on the floor in the master bathroom. So the shower faucet handle leaks. All right, this is the garage. Let's see. No automatic door opener was on the doors. Door can cause injury to a small child or animal. And then they have general notes here. And then they have the glossary for the clients. Now this is the report summary. So this is like all the reds that we saw. All right, so make sure you guys read through all of that. Same with pests, same with roof. Let's see. Okay. VP. All right, you guys. This is very important. So this is your final walkthrough, okay? Can you guys see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is to be done 3 days before you close escrow. I like to do it literally the very last day of escrow or the day before. For example, this did happen to one of my agents. They went 3 days before and the house is fine. They went the day before to do the actual final verification of property, and a pipe bursted and the house is flooded. So I like to do it the very last day or the day before close of escrow because you just never know what can happen. Okay. So this is very important. Right here you would put like if something was agreed upon. So this basically is to assure that the house is in the same condition as it was when you got into escrow. Okay. But if you did ask the seller to do fixes and stuff like that, then you would put right here that they did do the fixes. Okay. Okay, go ahead, Matt.
All right. Do you have any advice if there's a seller in possession and when you go back there, the house is still a mess,
Yes.
and you really can't see any change?
Yes, absolutely. So, oh wait, what do you mean you can't see any change?
Meaning that there's a seller in possession, so you're going to close escrow, you have to do your final walkthrough,
Uh-huh.
but you're looking at the house and it still has all the seller's
Yeah.
contents of the seller's,
How
house and everything.
how long was the seller in possession?
Supposed to be 4 days.
Okay. So what I would do, some agents have done this, but you can hold a deposit. Like maybe if like if I mean if it's 4 days, maybe like $1,000 or something like that. Um, but I know that with this one agent did it. The people were in there for 14 days and they held a $3,000 deposit because what if the sellers did leave the house a mess, right? So what escrow will do is they will hold that deposit for you. Um, but technically, if the house is in the same condition as it was as your Avid, then you probably would, I don't know, leave it. I would just leave it blank because if it was this in the same condition as it was prior, you know what I'm saying? Maybe make a note and just state that the house is still full of the stuff.
Unable to verify
Yeah.
uh, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
And yeah, my experience, the seller basically would refuse to put any deposit or anything, and it was just a sticky situation. But I was just wondering if you had some advice with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I would do that. I would just make note somewhere or on here. But it does say seller has completed any repairs alteration. Yeah, I mean, if it was in the same condition, then it's in the same condition. Um, but yeah, so for that, I do recommend you guys go the day before. Okay, what else? Um, this is now, no, not this. I think that's pretty much everything. Amanda, do you want to add anything? Did I miss anything? I kind of only wanted to go over like the most important stuff, but should I go over requests for repairs? Maybe I should. Uh, so when doing a request for repairs, um, right here, you could ask for whatever the FHA or VA lender requires specifically. So this is what we asked for. Were those 3 items to be fixed? One time, one time I put right here. So this is for if the FHA or the appraiser called it. This is what is needed. If your buyer is just requesting for, the toilet to be tightened or, no leaks or whatever, you would put it right here. Now, then you would provide all of the inspection reports that your buyer did. Now, if you're asking them to do some fixes, you can also ask for them to give you a credit as well, right down here. So one time, my buyers requested some stuff to be done, and then they also requested $1,400 for a new water heater because the water heater was absolutely bad. And the seller was an agent. Okay, so the seller was selling their own house. It was a flip. Mind you, the house was gorgeous and they just did not put a new water heater in. They just kept the old one. And so the listing agent, seller, whatever, they signed it. So right before close of escrow, he calls me and he goes, "Hey, why is there $1,400? Why are we giving you guys a credit?" And I go, "Yeah, we put it in the request for repairs." He goes, "No, you didn't." And I was like, "Yeah, we did. We put it, in there." So he goes back and he's like, "Oh, I didn't see that." I'm like, "Yeah, we did." He goes, "Well, I guess I have to give it to you now, huh?" And I'm like, "Yes." So make sure you guys read everything when you guys get it. Okay. That would be right here. You would put an amount. And right here is what your buyer request. And if the actual loan officer or the appraisal has called anything, you would put it right here. Okay. All right. Amanda, did I miss anything? Is there anything you want to add on?
I think you did a great job. I walked away for a minute and missed Matt's question about the VP though. What was your question about that? Just real quick.
I was just asking for some advice. If there's a seller in possession and you have to go do your walkthrough prior to close of escrow, kind of how to handle that because there's really not going to be much change to the property, at least in my experience. It was still all full of the seller's belongings, and I didn't see any difference from the first time I walked it.
Oh, got it. Got it. Um, I would recommend doing one before the close of escrow and then one after. That's what I tell people to do.
Okay, cool.
But I know that's a tricky one.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I was telling him. Like, if it's I mean, the VP technically does state if it's in the same condition as it was when he did his initial walkthrough. And if it was in the same
Mhm.
condition, then he would have to put nothing because it's literally in the same condition. But I would
Right.
put somewhere, I don't know, maybe an addendum or not even an addendum. I don't even know what, but uh, just stating,
I think that you're right. I think that you can put on here on the VP that it's in the same condition, but there's all the seller stuff is still there, and maybe even note that another walkthrough will be done when the sellers
yeah,
exit
yeah,
the
that's
property.
good. Yeah, you should do that.
But I
That
would
would,
definitely recommend doing one at the end before close of escrow and then one after.
yeah.
One when we take possession. So in
Yeah.
that case, it would be the initial VP and then an addendum and a secondary VP then?
No,
No,
I
I
would,
don't think you need an addendum. I think you just write it. I'm sorry, Jenny, I didn't mean to
no,
cut
no,
you off.
no. You're good.
I would just write it on the first VP.
Hmm.
Okay.
What's and then just do another one.
Yeah, just state on the original VP that a second VP will be done after the seller leaves the property
Yeah.
because due to the condition it's in, you can't do a full walkthrough or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get verbiage on ChatGPT.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. I do have one
So,
more question, if it's okay,
yeah,
and
of
that's a little
course.
off topic, but um, is there pertaining to like specifically Section 1? I know VA has some stipulations,
Yes.
but is there, how about FHA? Is there anything that we need to be aware of or keep in mind while we're going through inspections or even
Yes.
before inspections?
So FHA technically has to be live-in condition, right? So that means no cracks in windows, carpets cannot be ripped, or flooring cannot be coming up. All of the AC and heating has to work. The stove has to work. All the knobs have to work. It has to be in livable condition. So just little things like that. I think I'm trying to think for else for FHA. Um, I mean there's been situations where I mean a house has needs to be completely flipped, but it was being sold from a family friend and we just, it was FHA, but when we did get the appraisal done, the appraiser did call things and we just got those fixed and that was it. And it passed as FHA. Oh, fencing in the backyard. The fencing in the backyard cannot be missing any fence boards or anything uh like damages or anything like that. Uh, but just those little things for FHA. Everything has to work. Everything has to work. No cracks in windows, no tore up flooring. Uh, and I'm sure there's other stuff too. I just probably can't think of it right now. So
Sounds
just those,
good.
yeah. Oh, 2-year roof certificate for sure.
Mhm.
Uh, but that's pretty much all I can
But
think of right now.
but the FHA appraisers, they really, I mean, they look at the roof, and as long as it doesn't look like it's caving in, they're probably going to give it, a pass, right?
Right, right. So there was an agent that I was just working with, and she had a FHA buyer. So they put an offer in on this house, and it got accepted. So when they went to go do the inspections, the inspector pulls up and he's like, "Oh, did you guys not get the last inspections we did a couple months ago?" And the agent's like, "What are you talking about?" And then they're like, "Oh, we were already here." And she was like, "Oh, I did not know that. The seller did not give me any inspections. They didn't even tell us that it was previously an escrow." So, when we called the listing agent, we go, "Hey, do you have those inspection reports?" And she goes, "Oh, yeah, we do, but I never got them from the buyer." And then we were like, "Okay, well, was it a FHA loan?" And she said, "Oh, yeah." And I go, "Well," or she goes, "Well, why did they back out?" "Oh, because the loan couldn't go through." So now I'm thinking, okay, if that FHA loan didn't go through, why wouldn't this FHA loan go through? Like it doesn't make any sense. So when we went back out to the property, um, the appraiser went and everything already, like it was quick, and the appraiser was like, "Yeah, this is not going to qualify as FHA. This isn't even going to qualify as conventional." Because the floor was like so slopey. And so then we went back to the listing agent and we were like, "Hey, like you didn't disclose anything. Like the foundation is all off, like everything's bad." She goes, "Oh, well, I had a quote for 15,000." And we're like, "Why didn't you tell us any of this?" She didn't tell us anything. So her clients had to back out, and then we asked the listing agent to refund her for all of the inspections because she knew that a FHA loan was not going to qualify, and she still accepted our offer. So, just some real estate horror story for you.
Nice. Did you get your refund or your clients?
Yes, they did.
Good.
Yeah, they did. It was crazy. Yeah. All right. Any more questions? I hope you guys learned some stuff. I know it was a little
Thank
all
you.
over the place.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you,
All right.
Thank
Amanda.
you, Jenny. We learned a lot. Thank you.
Good, good. I'm glad. All
Thank
right.
you, Jenny. I appreciate you doing this class.
Of course. Of course. I love doing all this kind of stuff. All right, you guys. I hope you guys have a good weekend and a good rest of the week. Get out there, make some money, sell some houses, do real estate. If you guys need anything, let me know, okay?
Okay. Thank
Uh,
you.
all right, bye.
Bye-bye.